Hey guys, do you hear me? Okay, great. I will share presentation. Give me a few sec. Okay. Okay, guys. I'm so sorry for delay. It was all my fault. But we will try to do it in time. Okay, okay. You can open presentation right now and I will share mine. I hope everyone enjoys their coffee, borscht, or whatever you had while waiting me. My daughter today has championship and I was need to drive here, but I didn't expect so huge traffic on my way back. Sorry, guys. Okay, I will share my screen and we will start from retro. Okay, you should see my screen right now. Let me open. Link what I posted for you. Okay. First of all, let me show what is our agenda today. Agenda today started 10 class. We started a little bit later, but we will have probably a smaller coffee break, but I think we'll be fine and we'll have enough time to cover everything. And today we will start with retro, then we will have web architecture basic and how architecture looks like and all other stuff behind the browser. Then we will do regression with you and explain homework, and later I will have time for answer your questions if you have some. Okay, what is went well this sprint? Resume was created, it's great. I hope everyone at least started to do this resume because it's the main part of our bootcamp to have your resume ready and to go to the market, resume bullets, fine. Explanation of creating test cases based on user story, it's good. You do it in your work almost every day. Android Studio, awesome tool. Yes, it's awesome and powerful. Understanding CI/CD, great. Great class and resume preparation, lots of new and useful info. I'm happy. It was good. Resume preparation. Mentor session, very helpful. Probably some of you who already started to create your resume and maybe did first version of it, you already signed up for mentor session. If you didn't, I explain one more time because I still getting these questions. After you preparing your first version of resume based on our lesson, you can sign up for mentors. You can pick up like it's 3 probably person. Whatever you like, and they will review your resume and maybe go through it, and you need to talk with them. Okay. What can be improved? Tell us more about code deploy, more tasks in Jira. I will go one by one. About code deploy, guys, in presentation, it's enough information. I explained you already what is consulting company is. Everything what you need to know about code deploy, it's a company, consulting company, and they assigning you any company for your project. I explained you already, you work in a code deploy, they have client Deans, and they send you to work in Dean's office, or you're working remotely in Dean's client. That's it. You don't need to know anything more than you have in presentation. A company can change, it can be 400 people and 1,000. For you, it doesn't matter. You're working in your QA department and that's it. You actually don't know who else working in this company. You need to know more about, in your interview, you will have only one question. Do you work with Deans? You hired by Deans? You will say, no, I hired by Code Deploy and it's consulting company. That's it. And then you will continue with your Deans project and with your mobile project. Nobody will ask you details. It's not needed. You just need to understand.
Hi. Can I answer this question real quick?
Yep.
About the Code Deploy. Code Deploy is our partner company, or sister company actually, through whom we're doing our projects, Deans and the mobile projects. So in your resume, that's basically what you can put, that you have, you did a project with, through the Deans, I mean, not through the Deans, through the Code Deploy, but you was working on those projects.
Exactly. It's what I explained them during our resume preparation. I explained like overall what is consulting company and about projects. They should know it by this. That's why I'm saying it's not necessary to know any more about this Code Deploy. That's it. It's consulting company and they have multiple clients and you work with 2 clients, Deans and whatever mobile project you have right now in.
Yep. Great.
Yeah. More tasks in Jira. Guys, don't worry. Every time when we start in bootcamp, first like 5 weeks, people worry they need more homework, they have a lot of time and so on. After 5 weeks, when we'll start technology, everyone just scared. It's a lot of information and you need to go through it. You will have a lot of things to do. If you have extra time and you finish your Jira task, you can always go to LMS and go deeper to start APIs, start SQL and whatever before we will cover it. But for you, it should be, if you already did all your homework, just start researching YouTube, different information about Agile, about project, about mobile overall. You have full internet to research stuff. You cannot complain you have not enough homework, because we really shouldn't have time after finish your tasks and explore extra information. All questions what you ask in general need to be Google first. If you will do it, you will not have time and you will have less questions. And again, you will have much more tasks and particular exercises when you will start technology. Don't worry about this. We need a list of all applications for installation. Okay, it's probably actions. I will create an action item. Marina was too tired while went this class. Hard to watch it. Guys, we all tired, we all people, we all have family and full-time job. It's we sometimes can be sick and so on. We cannot be complaining about this because we have 100 people and right now it's just only 40 people came to class. But overall bootcamp, like this group, it's more than 100. We are not complaining why you all not right now participating, right? Because you may be tired or may be sick. You just don't open Zoom and don't participate. We as teachers, we need to be in class even we wanna sleep, eat, and whatever happens in our life. That's why you need to understand it. Marina trying hard and she probably tired. She worked hard, super hard with your group and other groups. Give us requirements for Dean's website. Guys, we don't have requirements. Everything what we have, it's what we have. We will maybe go through it again in our interview preparation, but again, it can be no requirements at all in real life. It's just project, it started and the client hired us, then they just can explain in words what they want to do or what they have. It can be happen, for example, stand up, they didn't have any requirements at all. And we need to live with this. That's why everything what you see, it's what we have, and it's okay. Actually, you don't need requirements for Dean's project at all. You can create user stories, and in your interview, you can say you wrote these cases based on your user stories, because user stories is actually requirements. Business analyst or project managers, they writing these user stories, it's actually requirements. It can be happen in real life different way, and I believe like 80% of work in QA will say they don't have a lot of requirements. It should be, and we teach you this way, but in real life, you will surprise that you will not have, and you need to go through Jira in your first work, you need to research open source information, you need to go to Confluence page, you need to go to chats and see what they discuss about, and you will gather in all this information about project. We will talk with business analyst, we will talk with project manager, and it's really QA work, because we have ideal like QA life, what we're trying to teach, and also we're trying to show you like how it's really in life. So yeah, it happens. And it's also called good word like agile. Agile, no requirements, no time, like no nothing, and we need to survive, we need to make money, and we still need to do this job. Action items. Actually, in real life, guys, when you fill out this retro, people writing bullets, and they probably put in their name to make sure like everyone understand and they can discuss if it's not understandable, or if they maybe project manager, he has extra question, what you put in this retro board. And actions, it's actually most of the time Scrum Master work. Students, yeah, Denise say me like, okay, we will talk about Denise. Okay, we'll provide. Denise just told we have some more information about Deans, and we'll try to gather on it and probably share with you. Okay, now write down all the homework and stuff after every class. Now we're trying to post in Slack, and also you have every time in presentation. At the end of presentation, you have your homework. And your homework is always the same. At the end of sprint, we create a new ticket in Jira, and you need to clone it and working on it. Extra homework and presentation. All the time, every week the same. We can just duplicate it in Slack, but actually we're doing work what you need to do. You need to open presentation and check, and you need to open Jira and check. When class will live, all people should switch chat or attendance, and we can see the comments. Yes, I agree. I'm not sure. I can ask maybe Denise or Jenny, maybe they know, because it's super cool when we can chat open, but I don't saw this feature in Zoom. Every time when I click on it, it disappears from my screen. But actually, yes, during session, it will be cool to have all these comments and see them recorded. Okay, we're probably done with retro. In Agile, again, after retro, you should have planning session. But we don't have enough space in our retro. At the end of class, on last page of our presentation, you can find sprint planning, and you will do this sprint planning with your team after class, and you need to estimate points. We will not do it in class, but in real life, estimation and all this work, it's part of sprint planning. Will code deploy confirm that we are working there? Yes, guys, everything about reference and all this stuff we will explain at our interview preparation section. Yes, you will have, if you will follow rules and steps, you will have references, and code deploy will confirm you work there. But you need to follow rules and hear what mentors saying and teachers saying, and you will be good. Okay, guys, let's start it. Today we will go through web application architecture, and probably it's, I don't know if you already covered a little bit this one, but it's important to, all questions, guys, about references later. It's interview preparation section. We'll have multiple classes about it. Three-tier web application architecture. Before starting all technologies and explain API and database, you need to understand how application overall working. Remember when we went with you through DevTools. I show you a little bit API and all this stuff. It was all about backend, right? And you had a lot of questions. What is about? Why we need it? Because everything what you did right now before today's session, it was front-end testing, right? You have your DINS project, you open browser, and you work with this. But behind the browser, it's a lot of different layers exist. Actually, it's 3 layers structure. First of all, first layer, it's front end. It's what we call front end. It's presentational layer. It includes HTML, JavaScript, CSS, and so on. It's everything what displayed actually in browser. Behind the browser, we have servers with database, with our API, and all programming stuff is behind the browser. It's second layer after browser, after presentation layer, it's application layer. And it can be written in different language. It doesn't matter. We still see everything the same in our browser, right? It can be written in .NET, C#, Python, PHP, and we still browser will translate us, and we will see still the same view in browser. Doesn't matter what kind of language they use to wrote our application. And next layer, it's data tier. Data tier, it's everything about data. In our case, our DINS working with Mongo database, and we will learn it later. It can be different type of databases. It can be MySQL, it can be Mongo, and it can be Postgre. It's database. Actually, if you listen this way, if you, for example, open any website, for example, DINS, you trying to log in, open website, click login page, you put in your username, your password, and you click in login button, right? And before this, you tested what? You see message, or you see like your user was login. But behind of browser, it's a lot of stuff going on. It's actually making call. When you type in this, a browser making call to server through API calls. And it's create data in database, and database sending us message through API again, like everything was successful. And we have already profile. It what happens on another side. I will show you probably, let me find, yeah. It can be a lot of different layers overall. It can be just, you see, it can be simple, just database, API, and our UI, but it can be super complicated. It can be a lot of different cloud services, including it can be a lot of different API, not our company APIs, what we use to build in our browser. And we can right now search in our DINS how it looks. It's actually, you can repeat if you want, but we will just go one more time through this DINS. Click on F12 and you will see our DevTools open. And if you will go to network and refresh your page, you will see a lot of different calls, what I showed you before, you see? It's a lot of different calls going from our browser. Every single action, what we're doing in browser, go to server via API calls. You see? If you click on sources, what I already show you as well, you have a lot of different, everything what we have in our DINS application, you can find in sources. All this stuff, it's our structure. It's built in, it's some of it, it's API, some of this, it's related cloud services, but still it's part of our application. You don't need to think about it deeper. You just need to understand it's a browser, API, or mobile API and database, but a lot of different stuff around this exists, and it's built in our structure. When you will join your first company, you probably will ask about what kind of services they use and so on. And most of the companies, they will have the same type of diagram, what they will share with you. And you will see like what kind of database they use, what kind of service, and you will see all this flow. If they don't have it somewhere in chart, they probably will draw it for you. And you will understand all these flows, because all companies and all websites, they structure differently. If it's simple HTML page, it will be just HTML page, and even they then can save data inside of browser. But in our case, DINS is complicated application, and they should have something like this. And what happens next after you doing any actions in your browser, what I said, and it's front end, right? It's exactly what you did last 5 weeks. You test front end, everything behind the browser. You just did a different functional testing. You click on buttons and you saw result. You saw probably maybe some functions didn't work. It was all front end. You didn't touch anything what behind the browser. I will maybe maximize this view. You see in front end, it's including HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. If you want to check again how our HTML page looks like in DINS, it's again in DevTools. Here, it's our HTML page. It's how it looks like, right? It's all this tree, all these stars. We already know this part, right? It's different images and so on. And when you do front-end testing, you just testing all this in different browsers, right? All this functional testing and accessibility maybe, and maybe design, or how buttons looks like, and what is the font they're using in text. If you will need to test backend, it's API testing most of the time, and database. It's already backend. It's already not black box testing at all. It's already at least gray box. But as when you will go deeper to it, yeah, you will do white box testing after you start automation. Again, you see when we do any actions in our front end browser, it's hitting our backend. It's sending API calls to our server, to our database, and all this returning via API, some respond to us. And browser, it's rendering this. Everything what returned from server, it's rendering, and it show us human readable picture, right? Our page actually, because everything was returned in JavaScript and so on, but browser have rendering engine built in, and it's translate all this computer stuff, like programming stuff, to our human readable way. I will show you this browser picture. Maybe it will be more clear. You see, it's user interface. It's where we working with our application. Inside of every browser, we have browser engine. It's different for different browsers. You can research it more in Wikipedia probably. That's why sometimes even if application was written in it's the same language, but you use different browser can translate it a different way because the user using different engine. That's why we're testing different browser, because each browser will have built-in different engine. This structure, you see, browser, we send an HTTP request to server, and server sent us the HTML page. Okay, and what includes in front-end testing? It's web application testing. It's what I mentioned already. It's what we did with DINS. It's already, it exists a desktop application. Let's think, for example, Skype, right? Skype, you can open it in browser, you can open in mobile, and you also can install in your computer, in your laptop. It will be your desktop application. It's 3 different applications, actually, right? Web, desktop, and mobile. But they all using the same database, and they all using the same API, but different interface. You making any action on mobile device, it's sending API calls, and it's still getting the same server. It's returning any response from server, and mobile application translated one way, desktop application translated another way, and web application browser translate different way as well. That's why, again, it's important to us in our bootcamp to learn this API, because you need to understand almost all backend written same language and using same stuff, but our UI different. But everything behind it's probably written in same language and same database. Okay, and backend testing. Backend testing is actually database testing, what we will do with you. We will install database and we will see what happens when you create any user, and we will see flow, how it's appear in database. If you, for example, want to retrieve any user from a previous session, right, you create another user, you can still go to database and see all information in database. You will have a lot of examples in our DINS MongoDB. We also will work with you in web API. In DINS using RESTful API, and we will go through this a lot. We will see how this call's going. I'm talking right now about all this stuff. You see? Right now, we just see what browser doing. Every time when I do something like test, I click in search. And I see what's going on, what kind of calls go into API. We will do all the steps with you in API session as well. We will not have any browser, but we can create user, we can search trips, and we can reset password. We can do all the stuff via API. Again, if you don't have, for example, UI layer, application still can work. Without this presentation layer, if you have all this stuff built in already, you can still test functional testing. It will be backend testing, but still some functions. And rendering, about rendering, I mentioned already that every time when you do any actions, we send some information to SQL. SQL sent us response. And you see how our page loading, right? If you open in DevTools this performance section and click recording, you will see what happens in our browser. You'll see how information coming from server every second, how they send us HTML3, how they send us any pictures, JavaScript, and browser just takes time for browser to translate it and show to us. And you see, I click on this performance, refresh my browser, and we will see how our rendering looks like. In a few seconds, it will show us some diagram with result. We will see how long it took for browser to get all information from server. It's called rendering. Previously in DevTools, they have different tab, it calls like timeline, and it was about rendering browser, but right now everything in performance part. It probably takes time, you see it's more than 1 minute. We'll see what happens if I will stop. It should still show me some result. It's slow. Okay, you see, we have information how our browser got information from server, piece by piece, you see. If you will click through this timeline, you will see like milliseconds how it was downloaded. It looks the same because probably all pictures was downloaded, but still some maybe JavaScript still loading, and that's why it's still saying us it's in progress, you see. Probably the picture is the same, but some information still loading from service. And here you will see result of it. You see like 11 milliseconds, it was scripting, download scripting. 4 milliseconds, it was downloading some system file and so on. And some information. It's again about performance when you will do some testing, how fast, slow your application, how fast your JavaScripts. Probably you will not do in your first job, but it just overall, you should know how it happens. Maybe you will have some questions about it in the interview, but hopefully not. You see, you can play around with this, for example, in any website. Let's see my favorite one. Let's see how they perform. Refresh page and we'll see how it download information. Much faster than our staging beans. You see, in this website, in my example, itandra.com, they have a lot of different Flash files, JavaScripts, some pop-up windows, and takes time to download them. We will see how it show up in a few seconds. Where is tier or tier? It can be different. It's the three-tier web application or three-layer application. It depends. It's the same three-tier application. It's not part of performance testing, what I'm showing to you. It just for some reason, DevTools, they move this section rendering inside of performance tab. Yes, it's about performance, how our website fast or slow to download from server, but performance testing, it's a little bit different. I'm not sure if you'll have JMeter session, but performance testing, we will do in different tools. It's called JMeter. Okay, we can stop and see how this. It's actually, they call it performance probably because it's kind of their home performance, but overall, when we will do performance of our application, we'll test it via API, not via browser at all. We'll test our API calls in JMeter. We will simulate, for example, how our application will survive with 1,000 users, and we will call it performance. But in this case, I call performance just how you see. Now, in this, it's much more interesting than Dean stage. And you see, for our website, it's loading, scripting, rendering, painting. You see how long it took for each step for browser. And here, probably you see, if you move in through this timeline, you will see how website changed during all the seconds. You see like some images show up and so on. Probably you can take screenshot from here if you need. If, for example, sometimes bug appears like in milliseconds and you cannot catch it, you can do it here as well. You can make screenshot from this performance tab in DevTools, because sometimes it's really difficult to catch super fast JavaScript show up and you see it, but it's difficult to make any snapshot. How we use this tool? This DevTools we're using for testing web application. If we're talking about DevTools, when you will use the DevTools, we already had 2 sessions of DevTools. I will not go through this again. Today, I just wanted to show you about rendering, how this browser work for us, not this DevTools at all. But all about the DevTools, we have 2 sessions recorded. If you miss it, you can return to it. Why we need rendering? If you ask about why we need rendering, we need sometimes we need to check how fast browser translate and show us UI, because again, server send us programming language, right? Some information in files, images, JSON files. Browser translate it and show us user interface, and all images, and all people don't know in like any language, they still can use it. When you will test your application, you probably not every day, but when you will first time probably testing before you go into live, you will test how all your services, all your images, all your JavaScripts work together, and how slow or fast it's for browser to show everything. Because if it's, for example, you implement some JavaScript and you tested it and it looked good and overall it worked, but you open in Opera browser and you open it, for example, and you see like some images, they downloading forever, right? It's a bug. But how long it took and so on, you can check here in performance, and you will probably report back based on this information. And probably you will have some technical requirements how fast it should be. I would give this because again, it's already backend. It's not, if you see, for example, web page, and for you from first view, you think it's normal, it's full, but probably you, from this example, you will not remember all pictures and images what should show up, right? It's not possible. But here in DevTools, you will know it. You will see in network if some API was failing, and here in performance, you will see all this information as well. But again, it's because we all technical people and you need to know how all this architecture look like. I'll show you this example. It's not necessary someone will ask this question for you, but you need to understand what is behind the browser, because everything what just UI, it's not QA engineer work, right? Only it just all people using and they know how browser looks like. So you as QA engineer, you already need to know what is our backend part. That's why this part we show to you. Okay, what is let me check. It's about 11, 12. Yeah, it's probably should be, I just trying to figure out time when we need to start regression to make sure we are in time. API testing for automation testing. How will QA use it in testing? It's complicated question. Right now you're asking about two different stuff, API testing and API automation testing. API testing, when you do API testing, it means you have, you doing backend testing, right? It's gray box testing. You don't open your browser, you just open tool, Swagger or Postman, and you're testing API calls. Again, in my example, what I show you, in network, you see, you have here a lot of different API calls. And here you see it because just browser do them. But you can do all these calls without browser at all. You will have different application. You will have all this JSON file. You will understand it better in our API session because we'll have better diagrams and so on. But let me it's not, maybe I will show you example from API. Here, API application from our future classes. You see, it's browser. Any action what we're doing in sending request via internet to API. From API, it's going to database. Database sending us any data. API sending us this data through browser. Browser rendering all this information, translate all this information, and show us in browser. You see, it's all this flow. It's more maybe understandable picture for you because it's not so complicated with any other services. And when we do API testing, again, API testing is backend testing when we don't have any browsers. We just testing API calls one by one. When we're talking about API automation, we just use another tool that will perform all this API testing, not manually. But so API like yes, API it's yes, it's a connector. It's an application programming interface, and yes, we'll do this. We have a lot of different collections for DINs, and you will get it with time, with more example. But yes, simply saying yes, API it's kind of like a connector, and again, you can hit all buttons in browser. It will go through API and do all actions in our application. You can do the same with mobile, right? It will hit the same API and the same database. That's why browser is just UI, desktop application just UI, and mobile device is just UI. But all backend it's the same. That's why it's people testing API, because we don't care what actually will be our front end. If API works and database works, it's probably all functional stuff, it's working, and all flow working. We are testing just clicking button, all the stuff in UI. Okay. Okay, guys, any other questions about kind of engine? Not really. It's standalone. It's standalone level, I will say, API. It's not engine. It's not connected. It's connected to everything in our application, but it's not. I will not say it engine. Any other guys questions about structure at all, or maybe? Yeah, because we will go to regression session and you see how many applications we have built in DINs. It's a lot of different JavaScript files, you see. It's all our browser translate us and showing us. Here it's just some add-ons. You see some statistic and some static file. Yeah, it's everything built in. Engine. Okay. Okay, your homework, guys. If you still didn't do it, you need to go to LMS and you will have multiple videos and some information about this web architecture. But right now you just have like overall idea how it looks like and how it can be. Yeah, your homework, part of your homework will be to finish all LMS stuff as well. And now we are going to regression part. Let's do a few minutes break probably. And I will ask you to open Jira and your Zephyr, and we will do regression stuff. All LMS. All LMS? No, you will in LMS session, you will have web structure probably. Let me check. Nice. I don't have access to it. Let me check what you have. Okay, test cases, type of testing, you should already. Okay, here you have a section of applications. Go through this architecture and yeah, you see this HTTP protocol. By this probably time, you already need to cover this all stuff as well. Web application, HTML, CSS, you can check this web application. All this section like application and web native hybrid. Probably for web, it should be done already. And you already started mobile, you should already cover this as well. Yes. All other stuff, it's about API, you don't need to cover this yet. Okay, check this application section and web part as well if you didn't do it before. Okay, let's do a few minutes break. Let's say it's 12:17. Let's do like 11:22, right? It will be Californian time. And we will start regression. Make sure you have access to Jira, everything, and we will back 5 minutes break. Okay, guys. Regression testing. Can you please type if you already went through this with Marina about regression? You probably did smoke testing. Did you do any regression already in this? Okay. Nice. Share screen. Okay, what is regression? Regression testing we're doing every time when we have a new build or we do anything, pushing anything to production. Before this, we need to do all regression stuff because every time when we fixing something or building any new feature, something around can be broken and we never actually know where it will be broke. Especially if you have a complicated architecture, what I will just show you, right? We can have different services. It can be a very complicated integration testing, and we need to do all this regression around. What is the difference between retesting and regression testing? Someone know? What is the difference between them? When we talk retesting and when we're saying regression, what is the difference? Yes, it means. Exactly, retesting, when we have some issue, we reporting this bug and we retesting this issue that it was fixed, right? When we talk about regression, we do everything around. Sometimes it can be testing all applications. Sometimes it can be part of application. For example, you implement a new feature on your checkout page. You build in any third-party services that will check your credit card. When you type in your credit card, again, before starting this bootcamp, you probably thought it's just so simple, right? You type in credit card, check in somewhere, or you'd never think about it. Okay, you paid, you're fine. But in real life, a lot of verification happens on backend. It's probably third-party application built-in service. It happens in milliseconds. Every time when you type in your credit card, it's going with API, checking, is your card valid, and returning, okay, this person is fine, it's not fraud. It's checking credit card number, it's creating code, it's checking expiration date, right? And it all will depend from your company, from your team, how you will set up this API. But we built in and we just built in, right? And we didn't change anything. We didn't change any contact information in this checkout page, anything, but it still can be broken because integration happens. We built in new feature. After you will finish this feature, probably you will not require to test all website, but you will test all your checkout page, for example. That's why in your application, you will know what kind of sections you have. You already did mind map. It's the same when you starting to work on any application, you splitting your application in different sections. It's kind of will help you don't miss anything. For example, your application has home page, checkout page, travel information page, user profile page. I don't know what else it can be. And you're splitting and you're creating this map, right? This flow, what is coming from and where it goes. After this, you will probably to create test cases. In Jeans, it's little bit, I don't know how it works in production in their company, but in your team, you just start working in testing all application, right? And creating test cases. Based on your team probably, right? You have like team 1 test cases, team 2 test cases, team 3 test cases, and so on. In real life, you also will split these test cases. You will not probably create like teams, you will create different labels. For example, this test case, it's related to homepage. This test case, it's related to homepage and as well as profile, for example. You can put the same test case, it can be copy of the same test case, or it can be different labels. It's in this case. And when you will create your regression stack, you will think, okay, I need to take all test cases from homepage. I need to take all the test cases from profile. And you will put like in basket all your test cases and you will run together. And depends how many time you will have and how complicated your application. Maybe you will have like 20 test cases, maybe you will have 1,000 test cases. Okay. Again, depends from complexity of your website. You will create like a lot of different test cases based on your user story. For example, one user story can have one test case, another user story will have like 5. It will include like boundary, testing, or other stuff. Every time when you create a new bug, not related to, strictly related to user story. For example, it was never a requirement for it, but you know it's bug, or maybe users report this bug. Every time when you create new issue, you need to check if you have test cases for it. Because sometimes we didn't cover during our testing, because we're writing our test cases based on requirements, and we can miss some requirements, and of course we will miss this test case. And good common practice in QA, every time when you have a bug, defect, you need to check if you have test case. If no, or you probably maybe wrote all test cases for your application, you will know you don't have it. It's good practice to create a new test case based on your bug, because next time in your build, you will check it. And sometimes in my experience, like the most amazing bugs, they were probably never expected, because you didn't think about this while planning your testing. It can be so interesting bugs, and yeah, you will report this bug, create these test steps, and to make sure next time you will go through this case. It can be reusable test cases, and also it can be absolute test cases. It means it will be using just once for this specific feature. It happens as well. You will have prioritization, but it's all depends from company. I will show you today example from different, not related to DINS and Zephyr. All these steps will depend from company. How to select test cases for regression. First of all, you will need to know what kind of session you worked on. What I said, for example, you did implement feature in checkout page or home page. You need to make sure you have all your test cases for home page written, right? You will take all of them. Also, you will create test cases for all your bugs related to this issue. Probably, if you will have limited time, you will review all these test cases and see what is priority. Maybe some of testing, like maybe you will skip, but some of testing never will be skipped because it's important, right? But all this information you will know based on your experience with your application. Let's check on DINS how it looks. It may be more clear for us. It will be difficult to run your test cases because it's only one screen possible to share. Okay, let's go and create a cycle. We need to go to Zephyr, our tests, Jira, plan test cycle. And again, you see like in, I see a lot of different users and you all created these cycles based on your name because you wrote your test cases and then you create like a cycle for your test cases. In real life, you will take test cases from different users. That's why you need to create idea in your team how you will do it. let me start from test case, probably from single test case, any of them. Oops. It's window. Okay, for example, I open like any, it's test, I don't know, it's Eric wrote it. You see, you're creating like any test case and you're saying like smoke feature, trip creator, so on. Actually, no guys, regression test and regression automation is different. If you have automation in your team, you will take some test cases and create automation scripts for this. If you don't have automation team, you will do everything manually. Automation just repeat everything what you do in manually. If you have the skills and you're tired to do this regression, you do it because you do it manually, like every day or every week or every month, every release, right? You create automation scripts. If you don't have automation skills, you will do it manually. If you can create some scripts and just click button run, and any program will do it for you, it's automation. But right now we all do it manual, right? We don't do any automation. And automation taking the same test cases, just implement some programming logic behind of it. And Selenium, for example, will do the same job what you do manually. For example, it's difficult, I don't know how it's easier to show you. For example, this test case, it's the trip creator from our community, right? In real life, if I will work in Zephyr, I never work in Zephyr. First of all, labels, you see this section labels. You use this label just to show your team, to make sure like you can create filters and search for team 5 test cases, right? But you can also create label with actually a section of your application, right? For example, you're working on trip creation page or home page, just example. You will create label for this home page. You see, you can add as many labels as you want in any test. It will depend from your team. And later, if you wanna, for example, do regression, you can also, for example, create like regression or maybe regression build 1.2 or something like this. And later, when you will need to test just all functionality around homepage, you will find all test cases related to homepage, and you will add this to your regression cycle. Right now in your team, I don't know, you probably didn't do it. I check and it's, you didn't. But if I will work in Zephyr, I will do it. I will definitely create some labels because let me create new cycle and we will try to do something with this. Because Marina told me you're creating your test suits based on your team. Team labels, exactly, you're doing team labels, but in your team labels, you have all test cases together, right? What if you will need just home page test cases? You don't need all test cases. For example, you need to do regression cycle around home page. How you will find all test cases related to home page? For this, you will create label, home page, and so on. And then through filter, you will easy to find it. It just will make your life easier. Right now, yes, in bootcamp, you create for teams because you need to split all, because right now I am seeing like 900 test cases. You don't have it. Let's create cycle. For example, I create one today. For example, we will do regression, October 19. Let's rename it. Let's do it. I don't know. Okay, let's do it October 19th. We're creating, for example, any build 1.23. Yes, it will be much easier. I will do it because of course, we on bootcamp, but you need to understand all this logic because it should be some organization in your head, right? How to be useful, because in real life, you will use the same Zephyr. You will come in and you will not have teams. You need to understand all tools, they working for us, not we working for them. You need to create everything what will be useful and save time and make your job easier with all these tools. Okay, this version, okay. For example, I create like regression 1019, okay? Let's find it. Cycle summary. You can create like, I don't know. I don't know how we will do it. Let's just maybe, it should be somewhere mine. Okay, I create new one, regression 1019. If you have your regression cycle and you can find, you can open yours. Let me try to create something here. And here, you see when you're trying to add via search filter. Here you see, you can add any test cases from your, I can add like all your Bootcamp 5 test cases, but it will be huge. It will be 900 test cases. I don't need all of them. They will be duplicates of each other, right? I still don't need like team. Let me create some another label. If we'll go to your tests, search tests, let's do some tricky work before. Okay. How many, guys, can you type how many bugs you see in your filter if you, for example, like team 5, 100, team 4, 300, whatever team you use, and how many actual test cases you have in your team? Issue type. All issues, okay. I saw it somewhere about 9, yes, it's about 350 right now for Q5. Okay. Do you have any mind map ready to review, or are you still working on this? 100? Yeah, I think so. Did you do this work when you checking if you have duplicates of test cases, or you just creating, everyone just creating a lot of different test cases and you combine them by team 5? Do you check between your team if you cover the same functionality? Or nobody did this work? We didn't check. You see, this work should be done. Probably you can work on with your team. We don't combine them. You don't, because you have by your name, but in your team, as soon as you label by team 5, all your, if you will use this filter, you will have all these cases from your team. Maybe it will be good exercise for you if you have 100 test cases and you have like probably each of your member of your team, you can go through the cases what you cover, and you can think if you have already in your team mind map. I don't have right now example because you didn't share with me, but you probably split all this application in different sessions, right? You split it, try to think, go through every single test case, what you created, and try to add label. For example, this test case belong to homepage, this test case belong to trip something, and try to check this label, add to this label. Can you share with me your mind map? Maybe it will be easier. send me in Slack and we will see and checked. Because mind map will definitely help us to write these test cases and create a good regression suite. What I will do again, let me search, it should be basic 4, contains text. You see, like if you will have like, can we do it? Yes, actually, if you create any test case, again, in my experience, you can create label first, and also inside of this description, you can add, for example, if it's this test case belong to home page, add this to the start. Because here you add in smoke, maybe it was purpose for this, but it will, for example, if it's belong to trip, I will not delete it. For example, this test case belong to trip planning. And you have the same section in your mind map, right? You can do this. I will open this. You see, if you have, for example, I just add example, but it can be like this. You see, if you go to this exactly issue, for example, you add in deep planning, it will be kind of session of your application based on your mind map. And later, and also you will add here label, trip creator. You see, like we have some labels, trip creator. I will add just example because I'm not sure. For example, trip planning. Anyway, if you will return to all issues, and you can search by keywords right here. Search tests. You can search by label, and you can also search trip planning. Plan trip page, kind of like this, you see. It will be easier for you if you will edit. You can search later by your test cases as well. You see, like right now I'm searching using just name inside of your description. You can use these advanced filters. You already know how to do it, right? Trip planning or just trip, maybe. We'll have more test cases. And also by label. Okay, let's say, for example, maybe we can add something else, maybe some tip. Let's find this group number 5. We'll see how it looks. It's huge. This plan 14, so let's not go deeper to this. For example, yeah, trip search field, sign up, create trip, nice. Test cases. You see what I'm saying? If you split in yourself, for example, you have mind map like this, you don't need details like free or something. You just creating like main section, right? Like creating trip session section, sign up, maybe login page. I don't know. You have sign up page. I'm not sure. Where is your login page? You have login page. Okay. Search field. Search, you can create again like search label as well, and all others relate to specific city, right? Okay, for example, create trip, login, and sign up. Let's search by all these cases belong to team 5. I believe. Let me. You have label, right? Label. the mind map. Okay. Theme 4. Let's see. Label not exist. It should be done different way. It should be searched by label, but it doesn't let us. Okay, let's go through the plan test cases. Maybe it here will be some labels as well. We can add all test cases, for example, any team. We'll go through these test cases and add labels inside of regression. Where's my regression? Okay, this one mine. Add these cases, and I wanna search but all these cases team 5. Do you have, guys, in this search filter when you search your team? I don't have it. I don't have this filter created. If you're searching via search filter, can you search just your test cases? Team 4 or team 5? I don't. You should have it. If you create a filter already for your team, you should have it. Priority, let's see. Something happens. Team 4, okay, I found it. It's from another cycle, maybe. Here, the test folder assigned to the priority execution status component labeled team 4. Let's copy. Let's try. I have it 0. You should have it, guys. Check it out because actual label matters is team. People saying combine, but some teams they already combine. No, you should try it, guys. I don't have any. Yeah, please try yourself because maybe we have different rights. I will try on my computer. Some of you should try to create a test cycle with label of your team. Team 3. You should have ability to create this cycle. Team 3, team 5. I don't have anything added. I can just add all from all this bootcamp. You should able to add these cases. We were told label them, but not everyone did it. Yeah, if you didn't do it, you need to add label to your team. Start from your test cases. Each member of your team need to go through their test cases and add team label. It will be faster. Okay, try to create this filter and find all these cases belong to your team if you have filters. And I will try to change my settings. And probably I will create, if not, I will go just through full cycle. I don't want to run 900 test cases. Okay, let me try. No, you see it's not shareable. But no. Let me know if you was able to create your cycle. It will be nice because you need to practice your own. I will just show you through few test cases, but each of your team need to have this regression cycle in your computer. My work will be just example. You will have real cycle and you will need to run it. Let me try to add. Total test found, regression team 5. I just added probably while class. Okay, I have 100 for team 5. This link doesn't work for me. This link redirect me to my cycle. You see, I have my, when I open your link, I still have just my regression open, not yours. Okay, how many test cases? 100, it's for team 5, and probably I created this filter before class, that's why it's working. If you will create label, yeah, it should work on your computer. Because I created some filter regression. Yep. Okay, I have team 5. Can I? Team 9. You should open your team and let me know if your. I don't have it because I didn't. I just add for team 5 before class. That's why I have it. Let me know if you're able to create this circle and you see all these cases for your team. It will be enough, and we will go next. You will execute your test cases. I will execute my test cases. You don't need to combine them. We just will go through few issues here. I will say you what is what's wrong. Search for team 9 test cycle. You just create cycle here. Okay. Team 9, I see. Okay, you just create cycle. It will work as well. Yeah. But it's not working. No, it's working. It's just not message it was. Okay. Yeah. How many test cases, team? 61. 61. Okay, it doesn't matter what we will know. You see, guys, that's why let me open just any test case. I will just open team 9. Actually, open your test case, your own. I will open in my regression cycle what I did, and you will work in yours. Okay, let me check. Smoke feature trip regression, it's what I modified, right? You see what I'm saying? In my opinion, my personal opinion, it's a lot of information inside of description. Test case description, again, it's not necessary like Marina can describe your from her experience, and we all have different experience and have general practice. Well, how I see it, I will not put all these keywords in just description. Your description should be similar with your bug report. It means when you open this case, you know what is the section belong to this test case and what this test case about. Because right now, from this example, smoke feature trip creator from our community created trips, it just labels. It's for me sounds like labels. It's not saying me what kind of actions we will do in this test case. It's my understanding. I will not write test cases this way. Again, if you wanna create like any label, if for example you thinking it's still smoke, right? You can add here. It's not necessary to add everything. I will delete here and I will just add label. Feature trip creator from our community created trips again. If you want to add this and make it searchable by label. For me, it's difficult to run, but again, yes, I understand it. I just saying, because again, you can come over. Let's say you have like a team, right? Right now, Marina, it's your QA manager. You're working in a team. You have your QA lead, and you're working together. You come into absolutely new company, and you need to figure out what's their flow. It can be different. You will follow their rules for a while. If you know and you have better experience, you can sit with your manager, with your lead, and talk about it. Because maybe your manager just don't know how to do it better, or lead, right? And you saying, for example, in my company, with my previous experience, we create labels and it worked well, and so on. That's why I just saying you how I will do it. It can be different. If it works in your team, it's nice, because something that will work in one team will not work for another team. You can create any rules in your team as well. If everything fine, but you need to think like logical way. It's not a programming language, right? You need to create all this to make it easy for you. And every single member of your team should understand how it works. He need to easy to find all your test cases and so on. It's general idea of all this work. If you think like this flow, what you use in your team, it's nice and perfect, continue to do it. I just explaining what I will do. For me, for example, I right now open another team test cases and I have no idea what's going on. For me, it's difficult. My understanding, every new person, any new QA, what team company hired, should understand at least general idea what's going on. Don't overthink this stuff. And every time you will like change it. Some company using is even like Google Doc for creating test cases. It doesn't mean it's nice and perfect. I just showing you how I will do it. Different way based on one test case. If you wanna just change it, it will be still your practice, right? You can change it. I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying what I will improve. Future trip creator from our community. Okay, for me right now, it seems right. When user clicks on right scroll arrow, okay. I will try simply to go through this test case. Again, think you come into company, you open Jira, they provide you test cases. You first time in your application, you need to go through these steps and you should be able to repeat them. If it's not understandable for you, it means this test case is bad. Because in my experience, sometimes company has 10, 20 different teams. And sometimes they, in rush hour, or they have huge release, they can combine all these team members and switch teams. And you will not have time to read all these test cases. I mean, like if you need to go to test case and think about like about 15 minutes, it's bad test case. You need just open, it should be clear, and you need to repeat. You just help them, right? You just running test cases. If it's not clear for you, if you open any test case of your team member, it's not clear and simple, it means probably it's not better. And good practice to review test cases each other. Right now you have like also, right, you have teacher who help you review these test cases, but it's also good practice to pair your test cases. It means it's the same happens not only in QA way. In dev side, it works as well. They write in some feature, but they always have code review column. It means I'm writing my way. I follow rules of my team. I'm using same like rules of coding, what we're doing in our team. But then another team member checking my code to make sure like it's fine. And sometimes they, you know, like suggest like to change something. It's good practice to check your team member just maybe talk in your team and say, for example, let's review test cases each other and discuss about it. It will be good practice as well for you. You will see how they wrote it. Maybe they have it better way, or maybe you did it better way, and like you will learn with each other. Okay, let me try to repeat all these test cases. What we will do. Test details. Feature trip creator from our community. When user clicks on right scroll arrow, what you see? Then user can view additional trips created by blogger. And here in description, in actual main page, and I have no idea what to do. Create trip, no? Any idea how to go to through this app? I will pause this case. Can you repeat this test case, for example, if it's clear for you or no? Because again, you're writing this case not only for you. You're writing this case like anyone can open and repeat. Let me find another one, maybe. And send me a message if you understand what it's saying. I will go to another one. Create trip model, verify the search bar. Okay, main page. When user clicks on the create trip button. Okay, you see, like for me right now, it's clear. Like, okay, create trip button. Here, create trip, publish, where is button? This one? This one, probably. On the right top corner. Okay, it was there. And user types a desired trip location in the search bar and pushes enter. Test data New York. Then New York set as a search area. I like this test case. For me, it's clear. I found this button. I know what to enter because it has test data, and I know what to expect. This looks nice. Let's try. New York. New York. New York. And what should be there? Then New York set as a search area. Yeah, it's probably past, like it's all functionality of this feature. Guys, was you able to repeat this step from first one? Okay, this one it's pass. All right. Next one. It passed. Okay. Okay, but whatever test case it was, like it was Eric or something like, yes. When you execute and during this regression, check your test cases one more time and try to make it more simple, and maybe you miss some words. I don't know who checked your test cases, but still, maybe it wasn't checked. I don't know. We didn't do filters for it, right? Maybe it's still not checked anyone. Create trip model, verify search type. You see like here what I said, like you can create simply like trip model in your label, and yeah, you can search later by trip model, or you can search by label. When user clicks on the create trip button on the right corner and user types as desired trip location in the search bar and clicks on the free start from scratch, New York, it's exactly what I did, right? Opens with the selected location, trip creation page. It's what I did probably. I create here. Let me do early on. Yeah, let's say it passed. Next one, pass. Again, we have right now about 61 test cases here. First link doesn't work. You mean this like 1280? This smoke footer, it's a little bit different. Okay. This one, yeah, we need to mark it failed. I don't see it already in the first place. Okay, next one. It should be simple button. Execute. Yeah. When user clicks on create trip button on that item, then where do you want to go? Windows open. Create trip. Yeah, again, it should be, right now it's nice, but again, in real life, this should be like one by one, logically ordered. Right now, you see like, I already clicked the steps, like did these cases, but right now I am checking functionality before. I will show you right now another tool as well for you just how it can look like. Maybe it will be a little bit more understandable. But again, to make the Zephyr work for your team, you need to work on this, because in this way it's house. It's not like it's mess. Right now, it's not. It's difficult to get idea. Yes, we will execute all of them, and you will kind of working on this. But the main idea: don't miss any functionality. To have all these cases, what you want to go through. Right now, we have like 61 test cases. They are not organized. Yeah, please, in your team, it will be your homework, like extra homework, what you wanted to have. Please review your test cases your own. If it's already checked by teacher, it's nice, but you have like your teamwork. You need to check your test cases one more time to make sure it's no duplicates. Try to add session what it's belong to you based on your mind map team, and check what did you miss else, and you need to create test cases. If it's failed, guys, you creating bug. No, if you fail, it's any test case failing, you reporting bug. In here in Zephyr, you can create a link between your test case and issue, and later when it's fixed, you returning and just retesting exactly this test case. You are not doing all regression around again. You just retesting. Remember we talked about it? When they will fix exactly this issue, you will just retest this issue. You don't do all regression around again. For example, I don't want to mark your test cases like failed or something because you will be confused maybe later. But I need to show you example. It's difficult to use actually, even for me. I need to make like another day or two work to modify those cases, make it nice and make all labels, and then it will be easier to work for everybody. Because right now, for me, when I never see your test cases, it's complicated. When you click sign up button, again, test data, here, it's not test data. Test data, it's actual data. If you will have login, for example, user login. Let me. Okay. Okay, guys, you got the idea, right? Please check your homework. Will be. I will want. We have another 15 minutes. I will answer your questions and will show you another tool. But I want to return while we have still time. Return to your homework. Your homework will be here. You need to estimate points in ticket in Jira. You have this ticket number in presentation. You need to do it with your team. And another part of work, your homework. Let me see what actually ticket Marina assigned to you. And I will show you how it looks in another team tool to give you more maybe clear idea. Prepare interview bullets. Okay, you have just interview bullets. That's why you have a lot of practice with regression. My homework from me, I will post in channel as well. Please create a regression circle for your team. Go through your exactly test cases, review one by one, make sure they're clear, remove all words what not necessary here and add some labels. And you can also add, for example, regression team 5. And later, next time, you will just add this. If you will need, for example, test cases for main page and you have label here, we will add them. But if you will need just all regression, we will use this regression team 5, regression team 9, and so on. This label just for all your test cases, but for regression, just use another label, okay? Create label and check if you have duplicates. When you will, and your homework as well, you will be execute all test cases. Each member of your team need to go through all circle. You create all this cycle for your team, and everyone need to execute it. In real life, you will not make it like duplicates, like each member will have different cycle, but in our bootcamp, everyone need to go through this regression. Even if you have like 60 test cases, you need to go through them. If you will see duplicates, contact to this person, you will see who creates this test case first and maybe mark one duplicate, and you will have only one test case related to this topic, okay? Don't delete or mark duplicate if it's not your test case. You need to see who created first. For example, you created like today and another person created like a week ago. It means you created duplicate. You need to contact this person on discuss during stand-up, and someone who created latest one can mark it as duplicate. Okay, it will be your homework. And while we have another, and yes, run regression circle will be your homework, and you need to do it until next Saturday. Okay. For instance, now I talked about additional homework. Yes, I will formulate it and will post it in your channel, okay? To make sure you understand everything what I'm saying right now. I will formulate and post, and you will have a lot of practice at home, because right now, when I'm using my screen, you're using your screen, it's difficult to, maybe it's easier in class, in office, but it's complicated, but you need practice, okay? I will formulate and posting during today, and you will do it for, okay, let me show you, we have another 10 minutes, a little bit more. I wanna show you another example. what I already told to you, a lot of different tools, they similar with each other. Here is Zephyr, it's just plugin for Jira. Most of the time, if company use Jira, they probably have license and they wanna use similar tool. They will use Zephyr. But a lot of different tools do the same work. For test cases, for example, in my practice, when I was a QA lead and then manager, I was responsible to create all QA architecture and all flow. And I was responsible to bring on table like all tools for QA, what will be work for us. And I did some work, research, and actually in my practice, TestRail, it's the best tool what I saw for test cases. I create account for me. I will post link as well. You can create like trial version for you and just research this tool and see how it looks. You can also add to the resume and you will know like what is TestRail about. But it's similar with Zephyr again. And you can also, let me show you how it looks and I will show you example because for me like TestRail, it's more understandable and more organized than Zephyr. And that's why I want to show you this example. For example, this main page, I create my account, trial version. And for example, right now I am working in project Deans. I create, we have project button. I create this name of project Deans. Okay, I create this. Later, if you're going to your dashboard main page in this, you will have all project here. You see, I have just twice Deans because I create one before. You see like all project. If I will have any mobile project or whatever, for example, mobile project, right? I create in another folder mobile project. Okay, right now I have different folders for different websites or different projects, right? And right now I need to create this case actually for my Deans. I go into these Deans and here you see like panel, right? It's a lot of, you can write test cases, you can see reports, and you can see like test case execution, and I will show you how to create test cases here. Okay, now here it will be section. When you go to test case here, you will have, on the right, you see you can create as many sections as you need. It's the same what we call labeled right now in Zephyr. For example, I have section home page, I have section trip plan, I have section like, I don't know, like user profile, right? Based on my mind map, I will create all this section, what I need to cover for my test cases. Okay, let's say my application has right now 4 sections and I need to create test cases for homepage. I am going to this folder, homepage, and I create it one by one. Like test case number 1. The test case 1. Test case 2. It just, if you will go inside of this test case, you can create here steps. It's the same what you did with Zephyr. You see like section, homepage, precondition, steps. Again, it's just example. You can play around just for your information and you will know one more tool. Step 1, step 2. But idea is the same, you see. You have section, expected result, user should see something, save test cases, okay. I create this test case. And you can easily to find your test case here. You see like every time when you return into test cases folder, you see all test cases. TestRail, yes, I will send link. Okay, for example, right now I create one test case, not this one, test case 2 has steps. No? Which one has steps? Some of these should have steps. And for example, let's say I covered already, I create like 100 test cases in this section, this and this. And right now for me, it's time to do regression, right? I go to test run, and here it's test run. It's the same actually what we do with you like in regression cycle. You can name it like regression October 19, okay? You can assign it to you or whatever, you can skip it. Okay, you create this regression. And here you can add, again, I'm showing you first just idea, but you will, when you will create your account, you will see how it's simple and easy. And here, for example, you can add the scale here. You see, if you need to add any test cases, you select in section where you need to, what you need to add, or you can add specific test case. And then you click button run. For example, this one. You select include all test cases. Select specific test cases. Let me find like all together. I have 2. Okay. Add to test run, and it showed me. And here you have all test cases. You see, you open just one, and you go into this step, what explaining here, if you will have them. And here you add in result. For example, this one, it's passed. And it should be button here at the top. When you move to next test case, you don't need to search. And you add in result, for example, passed. Right now we have total 2 test cases, it's passed, and you can create report. Also, this tool can create report for you. You can, for example, find based on your, anyway, you need to play around your own. You can, for example, create report, how many was failed and passed during this exactly test run. But if you want to play around, you need to create account. It will work probably 30 days. You can create project, you can add any test cases. Don't do it like for Deans, just create like play around. And this tool, it has a perfect questions answered section. If you will need any help, you can find all tutorial here. I don't remember where is this. I actually don't work with this 3 years as well, but I wanted to show you because it's cool and simple. They already changed interface after I last time worked with this. I suggest you to take a look and maybe, you know, like play around. Maybe you will have better idea comparing with. I think TestRail, it's very, yes, it's very, very user friendly. You have button at the top, you have button at the end, you have all text visible. You can also link this with Jira back. It's super simple and cool. You can send, as soon as you finish your regression cycle, you can share with email to your project manager and so on to like just report, and they will have diagram, how many pass, fail. You see right now I have like 2 pass, 0 blocked, 0 retest, and 0 failed. And they will have email. You add any emails and people will see this report. And super cool tool. And yes, please take a look, compare with Zephyr, and you can say later, like, I have experience with TestRail, or maybe you will find job when they will ask you to create like QA process from scratch, and maybe what kind of tools you know, and you will know this TestRail. It's super cool. I like it a lot. I never worked with Zephyr my own. I think it's similar. And yeah, maybe if you have payment option, maybe it's more easy. They have more different interface. But anyway, you need to have different options to have better idea what's going on. What program usually used in job? It depends from your company. Your company can even use just Excel. It's not like good or bad tools. You come in the company, you ask them where you're writing your test cases. They will say you TestRail or Zephyr. They will give credentials to you and you will work with this. Maybe company using Excel and in few weeks you will say, talk with lead or manager, say like, why you don't use any specific tools for writing test cases? They sometimes just didn't think about it. Maybe they have just one QA and he was fine with Excel. And you can advise them that you, for example, know TestRail or Zephyr and it worked great in your previous company and they will buy license. It's exactly what I did multiple times in my work. How about Bugzilla? I never worked with TestLink. Bugzilla is free tool. They all same purpose, but it depends just how easy, nice, and cool you are. If you don't have money, you will use what I said, like Google Excel spreadsheet. If you don't have money, you will use like Bugzilla. If you will have money, you will. It's not expensive. It's actually like $10 per month per user, but it depends from budget of company, what they used before. But you need just to understand how it works. Okay, guys, we over our time. Probably it's another class starting at the same time in Los Angeles office. It was nice to see you. Sorry for delay today. I will try to spend extra time with you maybe next classes. If you have questions, please post. And yes, I will create extra homework from me to your team later today. Okay, and see you next time. Bye.